The evolution of life on Earth unfolded over hundreds of millions of years, giving rise to an incredible diversity of animals. While science has given us some understanding of these creatures, our knowledge of most extinct species remains incomplete. Often, even experts lack definitive information about them, especially those whose remains have never been found. Scientists make educated guesses about the behavior and lifestyles of long-vanished animals by studying modern species. These living counterparts aren't always direct descendants of the fossils in question. Rather, researchers assume they occupy similar ecological niches, suggesting they might have behaved in comparable ways. Yet, among extinct species, there are cases where scientists still can't say for certain what they looked like or how they lived. Occasionally, though, we're fortunate to find exceptionally well-preserved specimens, like those recovered from permafrost, that provide invaluable insights. Take woolly mammoths, for example. They roamed the Earth during the early days of human expansion, with the last of their kind believed to have died out around 10,000 years ago. Ancient cave paintings left by early humans depict these creatures in detail, and Siberian bogs have yielded numerous nearly intact specimens. Scientists have access to complete skeletons, as well as preserved skin and fur, allowing them to study even the contents of mammoth stomachs. On top of that, several elephant species still alive today are their distant relatives. With so much evidence at hand, researchers can confidently say we know nearly everything about how mammoths lived. Yet the question of why they disappeared remains hotly debated. These giants seemed untouchable, yet all mammoth species vanished almost simultaneously across every continent. There are several leading theories about their extinction. Let's examine each one to see how plausible they really are. The first theory, a meteorite impact. We all know that a massive meteorite strike brought an end to the age of dinosaurs, triggering dramatic changes on Earth, shifts in climate, increased volcanic activity, and ultimately, the giants' demise as they failed to adapt to the cold and food scarcity. But mammoths were perfectly equipped for harsh conditions. Their thick, shaggy fur provided insulation, and their long tusks helped them dig grass out from beneath the snow. Powerful legs and massive bodies allowed them to trek through deep snowdrifts, while their elongated trunks and wide nostrils warmed the frigid air before it reached their lungs. Many even had a peculiar hump, similar to a camel's, storing fat reserves to survive extreme cold. Starvation was hardly a threat to animals this well adapted. And crucially, there's still no confirmed evidence of a major meteorite impact around that time. True, Earth's climate began shifting roughly 12,000 years ago, but scientists have yet to find traces of another celestial collision. What's more, mammoth populations had already been declining long before then. Experts estimate their numbers started dwindling around 120,000 years ago, pointing to a gradual, planet-wide decrease rather than a sudden catastrophe. The second theory, mysterious pandemics. Some researchers speculate that mammoths may have fallen victim to novel viruses or bacteria, pathogens their immune systems simply couldn't combat, leading to their catastrophic demise. Yet mammoth remains have been found across nearly every continent. Only Australia and South America were spared. These giants originally migrated from Africa into Europe and Asia before eventually reaching North America. When land bridges between continents disappeared, isolated mammoth populations began evolving separately. This raises serious questions. How could pathogens have crossed oceans so rapidly in an era without human travelers or aircraft? Our ancestors followed the same migration routes as mammoths and were similarly isolated when continents split apart. The next contact between human populations on different continents occurred thousands of years after mammoths vanished, meaning sick mammoths couldn't have infected overseas populations. Most damningly, mammoths began dying out simultaneously worldwide. The odds of the same disease wiping out every isolated population at once? Vanishingly small. The third theory, inbreeding collapse. Some scientists propose that small, isolated mammoth populations may have simply bred themselves out of existence. Over generations, inbreeding can amplify genetic disorders, leading to catastrophic population decline. Modern elephants face similar social structures, living in matriarchal herds with solitary males, yet show no signs of genetic deterioration. Their system naturally prevents inbreeding, Female-led clans remained stable while wandering males introduced new genetic material to different groups. Mammoths likely lacked this safeguard, or the mechanism failed as their numbers dwindled. While speculative, this theory presents a plausible explanation for their disappearance, especially given what we know about the dangers of limited gene pools in isolated species. The fourth theory, human predation. The first mammoths appeared roughly 45 million years ago, ancient elephants that dwarfed their modern descendants. These colossal creatures stood up to 4 meters tall and weighed as much as 100 tons, with some species reaching 6 meters in height and exceeding 12 tons. Even the most formidable predators of the time posed little threat to healthy adult mammoths. Modern elephants, though far smaller, still deter lions and tigers, predators that only dare target calves or weakened individuals. Humans, however, were different. Early hunters, unrestrained by conservation, are believed to have driven many Ice Age herbivores to extinction, mammoths included. But there's a catch. A single mammoth could feed an entire tribe for weeks. Their hides provided clothing, their bones and tusks became tools and ornaments. Yet human populations were sparse, and their weapons rudimentary. Consider the North American bison. For centuries, indigenous hunters culled herds without threatening the species' survival. It wasn't until colonists arrived with firearms that bison neared extinction. Hunting mammoths was perilous, requiring coordinated efforts from multiple families or clans. Realistically, securing a few kills per year would suffice. Killing such a massive animal was just the first challenge. Butchering, preserving, and transporting tons of meat demanded immense labor. Would hunters really risk lives for surplus kills? Unlikely. While humans contributed to mammoth decline, attributing their extinction solely to overhunting stretches credibility. The fifth theory, climate change. We've long known Earth's climate shifts between warming and cooling periods. Ice ages give way to thaws, and sudden cold snaps have triggered mass extinctions throughout history. About 12,000 years ago, warming may have doomed the mammoths. As temperatures rose, the vast tundra steppes they relied on began disappearing, replaced by bogs and forests. Their habitat shrank, food grew scarce, and while climate change itself wasn't the direct killer, it made mammoths vulnerable. Predators, human hunters, and disease likely finished what the shifting climate started. Most scientists consider this the most plausible explanation for their extinction. Thanks for watching. Want to explore more about mammoths or dinosaurs? Check out our other videos.